Hello, welcome to Not So Awesome Review. And today we're looking at the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Turtles in Time Leatherhead action figure by Neca Toys, and that is a mouthful again. And I am actually, this might be my favorite one of the entire wave, just because, yeah, you know, Michelangelo was awesome, but he's just another turtle, same body, slightly different. Raphael already had him, didn't need to pick him up, unless I want that board at some point. And then Shredder, which again, I already had the animated Shredder, though that Shredder is different, and we'll be looking at him at some point. But Leatherhead here, definitely the most unique one out of all of them. I know they made the animated one, I don't know if it's too different, and normally I would say, oh, it's just a repaint, it's whatever, but after messing with that Shredder, yeah, there might be differences. I highly doubt it, because it is kind of a, I wouldn't say simple figure, because look at him, he's a crocodile, he's big, he looks good, but yeah, aside from the accessories, I don't think there's too much of a difference, at least in the articulation department or anything like that. But accessory-wise, he does come with a pair of fists, a pair of open hands, a pointing hand, which you can use to put the knife in if you want, and then another kind of holding hand where you can put the knife in, but it's not so much pointing, it's different. And then, of course, he comes with the knife, which, let's actually start off with the knife here. And the knife itself, I mean, that is some really good detail. The paint on it looks really good. The blockiness of it, it reminds me of Minecraft. I'm not going to lie. It just reminds me of Minecraft, the way it is. Of course, it is a video game. It is supposed to be pixelated, kind of like that game. But, yeah, it looks good. Paint on it looks good. I really love the jagged edges here. Just, it's a nice looking knife. I like it. And really quick, just because it's going to be a little bit easier to do it this way, you can see here, the hands look pretty good, but there is paint chipping right here on the joint where it moves up and down, and it is like an issue throughout most of the body. And when you get this figure, there's chances that he's going to be really hard to actually move because of all that paint, but it's because of the way he's painted. He's painted in a matted paint that almost feels brushed on. It doesn't feel like glossy and smooth like most figures. This guy looks like he was painted with a brush or something, and it looks really, really good. It stands out among all the other turtle figures, you know, in that regard, aside from the fact that, again, he's a giant crocodile. But anyways, yeah, so paint wise, it is definitely different. It is something you feel it, like you can actually feel the dryness. I'm hoping that won't be an issue in the future where, like, his paint will just, like, chip off really easily, because I feel like it can. Like, there's a little bit of green there. I can't tell if that's just from under it, if that's whatever. Like, I don't know what's actually painted on and not. Like, he could be blue and then just painted over, or he could be green and painted over. But it looks like, from looking underneath, he might be on a dark blue body and the light blue is painted on. But even the dark blue, it has that same texture. It's like, I don't know, it's rough, it's different, I like it, and that's throughout most of the body. You can see there is a little bit of a shiny spot right there where maybe they didn't get it, or they got the little extra glue on there or something. But aside from that little defect, mostly around the seam where they glued on, I think, probably this, like, underwear thing, yeah, it's really good. The hat looks good, the detail on him is there, the pixelated detail, everything about him paint-wise, I actually really love. It's very different, but it suits the figure so well, and I have no complaints when it really comes to it. I mean, yeah, there's some minor little inconsistencies in the paint, but that goes with every figure, so can't complain there. He does have the pixelated stuff, like on the arms, like all the turtles, under the vest, which the vest does not move. It's kind of glued in place. Kind of sucks. Would have been nice if it was a little bit more flowy, but at the same time, it doesn't really interrupt his articulation, so I don't really have a problem with it. His tail does come off in the package, so you have to plug it in. And trying to remember, I think with the tail, he's around almost 5 inches, maybe 4. It doesn't look that big. Might have just been off when I was measuring it. And he stands, I had this like 2 seconds ago, I want to say somewhere around 6.5. That's the wrong way. Yeah, a little bit over 6.5 inches, maybe 6 3/4, somewhere around there. And so a few things. Again, paint might get in the way for having to move things. For me, it was especially difficult in the legs here, because he had like knock knee syndrome when I took him out of the package, where his legs were like that, and he like just, it didn't look good. He couldn't stand because of it, and had to work it for a good while. If you want to heat it up, but I was able to kind of just like slowly get it to move like that. It's still rough, you can actually hear it. Let's see if I just, and that's mostly throughout the entire body. So again, it does kind of get in the way, but it looks good. I think it's worth it as long as you're careful not to break anything. All the hands, like I said, there is going to be paint chipping from the joint, so watch out for that. They are going to be a little bit hard to move up and down, and just like the whole figure is going to have kind of that small issue. But anyways, articulation wise, he can look up about that much, can look down a really good amount, can look left and right, and can pivot side to side, which I actually really like. And actually, let me lower that. So side to side is up and is down, and he can open and close his mouth, which I think is awesome. He's a little bit bigger, so you know, having to lower him for the camera. Arm, let's see, is that, yeah, that's about it. So he can go pretty straight out, down, all the way around. Rotation at the upper arm, you can hear that paint just going right there, and that joint just going. Double jointed elbow, that does really good. And swivel and hinge at the wrist, which the hinge, again, a little difficult to do, especially since there's still some paint on there, but works fine. He does have one of these joints right here in the diaphragm that goes back about that much, not too much. Goes forward that much, not too much, but it can go side to side a decent amount, and he can rotate side to side. So not bad, especially for a figure this size and a figure designed this way. I'm okay with it. Again, not bad at all. Leg can go out almost all the way, which is awesome. Can kick forward really good. Can kick back just a little bit. His leg does go back, so I'll give him that. Again, that upper thigh rotation, which is definitely important for this guy. The double jointed knee. The boot rotation. And the boot hinge that doesn't go up too much. Goes back a little bit. And does have a slight pivot. Actually, a pretty good pivot. And yeah, so articulation wise, not bad. He is a little heavy, especially in the tail area, so he kind of wants to lean back. And he does actually have tail articulation, before I forget it. Not something I'm used to, just a ball peg right there. Just plug it in, goes back, forward, and side to side a little bit, and rotates around. No rotation on the actual plugged in part. But yeah, I wish you could lower the tail just a little bit more, so that you can kind of get that balance, so his tail's just on the ground. It's just like a cheating way for characters with tails to kind of stand sometimes, but you can't really do it with him. Right there, he's balanced. His other foot isn't flat. I wouldn't trust that for like a long term, but it is possible to get him to stand. So you can see that there, and yeah, it's again not a bad figure. Just gonna put him here with some of the other turtle figures really quick, so you guys can see a little quick comparison, and then finish up this video. So here he is next to a foot soldier, Leonardo, and Slash. You can see here he is bigger than all these guys in pretty much every sense. Longer, taller, you know, buffer. It's just, he stands out on a shelf. Not just because of his size, but also because of that paint. You got the glossy paint on pretty much everybody else here. Slash almost has it. Like on the bandana, you can kind of see it there, and then on the white, but the rest of him is kind of more of a smooth paint job and everything. But Leatherhead here, again, I don't know what they did, if they like just added a coat over it, or they used a specific paint or anything, but I really like it. I think it suits that character really well, and nothing really else to say here. Here he is next to the new Marvel Legends Spider-Man, and you can see here he is still a pretty good size bigger than him. Bigger Spider-Man fights crocodiles, not crocodiles, but you know who, a few times the lizard, so maybe you want him fighting him, I don't know. Either way, I'm excited to actually have that Spider-Man. He just came in, and hopefully be doing a video on him at some points, even if it's a little old at this point because of how people got him. But anyways, that's besides the point. So definitely one I would recommend if you can get this one, or maybe even the animated one, whichever line you're collecting, doing both. Whatever it is, he is definitely a good figure, even on his own. If you don't really care about turtles too much, but you think, hey, he looks pretty badass, I would say go for it. the articulation on it is good enough that he can definitely pose. The paint on it, like I said, is amazing, and the sculpt work on him is really good. The eyes, I mean, they're squared, they're looking one direction, they're not bad. It's just, I don't know, I kind of wish we could get a little bit more of an expression out of him. That'll be my only little criticism here. But aside from that, I think it's a great figure and might be my favorite one of the line. Shredder's definitely up there. I don't know if it's the same, articulation and sculpt work and everything as the original Comic-Con ones, because I believe they released him with some foot soldiers before, but definitely better than the animated one, and we'll be looking at him sometime soon, hopefully. But yeah, anyways, that is my review for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Turtles in Time Leatherhead action figure. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you all later. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.